Well, to me, this is a very exciting project. Number one, because it's, to my knowledge, this is the first five-star green home remodel on a historic in the city of Austin. So that is very exciting for me because I typically do, we do an array of things. We actually go from brand new construction, creative renovations, or we actually go in like this. This is what I would call a creative renovation, because we are kind of starting from scratch, but the house is existing. So we do have a clean plant palette to work with. But I think because it's the first one in the city, this is going to be a real special project for our company to meet those five-star green requirements. But again, you know, I can't reiterate it enough to be in keeping with the neighborhood, and still, you know, so the neighbors are going to enjoy what we're doing here. This project is going to be somewhat challenging because since it is a historic home and it's also a five-star green home, we need to be in keeping, you know, with the neighborhood, the style of the home, the you know, almost the year of the home. And in order to be a five-star green home, there's just certain requirements that need to be met and a certain plant palette that we have to work off of, which, you know, we need to be about 90% working off of the city's green grow list, which is a pretty wide, varied palette, but a lot of it is a little bit more of Mediterranean and native plants. Because, you know, a lot of the plants off of the green grow list are either natives, kind of drought tolerant, xeriscape, Mediterranean type of plants. This style of home, though, really is not the new kind of modern style that most of all the five-star green homes are, which is a very simplistic style of landscaping where you can put a yucca, an agave, a palm out there and just gravel the whole front area and call it good. This particular house, because it's historic and it was probably originally built back in the kind of early, you know, mid-1900s, and it's a little bit more of that kind of southern charm. There's a lot of shade to this yard as well, so we have to bring in a lot of plants that are on that list that as well are going to work in our light requirement conditions. Most all homes, if you're not going with the five-star green building, you can actually turf all the way up to the house if you choose to do so. In this particular instance, we're needing to stay 3 feet away from the home with spray irrigation. We can, if we're just using just individual drip emitters, we can do a little bit of irrigation up against the house. A lot of it is kind of due to we're wanting to protect the foundation of the house, so therefore that's why we don't want to spray up against it. So typically what we're doing, you can use a gravel strip, a mulch strip, anything near the house, and we are going to be putting a few plants, you know, close to the house, but it's not going to be the real traditional structural where you're actually just putting plants right up against the house and turf on the edges. We're going to mix it up a little bit on this project. You know, a lot of it is the choice that the builders are choosing for the house and the trim really is going to blend in well with the native colors of the tree, especially as they're changing in the fall. There's actually, we're going to use a mixture in this particular place. We are going to use some turf, which that is going to be a little bit more in keeping, though, with the style of the house. And turf is actually fine for five-star green building, but again, there's about 3 different types of turf that we can be using. For this particular house, we're actually going to be using zoysia. And so we're basically trying to, instead of just like you were saying earlier, instead of having just a five-star green home on the inside, we're definitely going to be flowing it to the outside. So we're going to be blending a lot of different styles here, but still trying to keep it in kind of with that historic heritage southern feel that the architecture of the house is lending to us. And as well, we have the large live oak here in the front yard, so we're going to play around that and just try and make it look really interesting and creative for the neighborhood. I think, you know, one thing that we're also going to be doing with this particular project is we're going to be using a lot of drip irrigation on this project, which is something that is our company really believes in, is low water usage. And that is a part of the 5-Star Green point system, but on this particular project we're going to be doing drip irrigation, which is extremely efficient. We're also going to be using for the edging material, we're going to be using recycled composite plastic edging, and we're going to use all the materials that we're bringing in are going to be local products. We're going to try and use local mulches, local soils. Everything that we're going to be doing is going to be organic. And so this is really going to be a very interesting 5-Star Green remodel, historic remodel.